playoffs, round 2. Things are getting hot. Things are getting serious right now. Tom Prince, Frank Wolf, Tim Gardner producing. Mario Hall is out today. We're going to have some special guests. We got Carter Jabu from Pioneer. We've got Bryce Tubin coming in from Clarence. We've got Tom Langworthy from Jamestown. He'll be joining us via Zoom. And then Brian Davis, the head coach at McKinley. They take on Ken Moore West. Should I tell him before he comes in that I am a Ken West grad, or don't even bring that up?
We're not going to bring that up.
You had some excitement?
Listen, it's not like everybody doesn't know it anyway, right?
I'm really going on my way to root for him to beat McKinley. I think it would be cool to see them get to the stadium, but I have no real dog left in that fight. But I wanted to do a quick rundown of where we were this past week, like we always do. And I'm going on like an hour's of sleep here, so remind me, where were you last weekend?
So I did Friday, Saturday games is what I did on Friday. So Friday I did the Sweet Home Will North game on Friday.
Yes. And
then Saturday did the Lackawanna Grand Island game.
Wow, you and Lackawanna. You seem to be there every Saturday. I hope they treat you right over there.
They are awesome to me. They always make sure that we got our spot and take care of us for a while.
You'll be back there this Saturday.
I will.
They host.
Lackawanna will get a chance to host Health Sciences.
Yeah, that'll be a freaking war. I'll be at Pioneer South Park. I caught round 1 earlier in the year when just like the first quarter. Yeah. So interesting. It's always tough to beat a team second time around, no matter where the game's played. I still find it interesting that South Park last week elected to play on the road. Even though they were considered the home team, they went to Will South and got the job done. In your estimation, do you think that took any pressure off of those kids at South Park? Or do you think that was more pressure on Will South, hey, we could beat you anywhere kind of attitude that they went in there?
I think that's what South Park had to go in with that attitude. And I think you had to, as a coaching staff, absolutely prepare your players to do exactly that. That says, listen, no matter what, I don't care where we play them, we're going to go out and get the W. And they did exactly that.
I didn't get to see it firsthand, but St. Joe's took care of Timon on Friday night. That was a highly anticipated game. It was at Mulroy Park. So the Monsignor Martin playoffs are set.
Correct.
You're going to have Francis and Joe's, and then Canisius and Timon for that A Division championship. And then we know it's St. Mary's and O'Hara already. And I'm not exactly sure when that game is. It could be Saturday for all I know, but I think it's the 16th. I'll go back and double check.
I know they've done various things. We've seen them play the same night. We've seen them play different nights. So we'll have to wait and see how that's going to pan out.
Exactly. So we'll keep our eyes on those games.
But I will say this. Sweet Home's the real deal. For those of you folks who have not seen this Sweet Home team, they are the real deal. And they came out with a purpose in that game against Williamsville North.
I want to ask Tim his thoughts on it. Do you see similarities in the Sweet Home team this year and the ones that Fowler coached when they were going to the Carrier Dome all those years? Not that there was a lot of years, but
the speed similar. But I'm not sure if Sweet Home dual platoons. Same guys on offensive line and defensive line. That's a big deal. Yeah. No matter who you are.
Yeah.
And we've said that. That's one of the things that I was talking about with Lackawanna. Like, they've got a great line, but they're all going both ways. And that does take a toll on you. Listen, my son will tell you how much of a toll it takes on you.
Double A and A, they don't have to do that as much. But once you get down to the Bs, Cs, and Ds, most of those lines are going both ways. And it's the ones that are in best condition, usually the ones that carry you.
You're even seeing the double A's have that happen to them.
Well, yeah, you got the kid from Bennett those years.
Right. Rashad Perry's a great example.
Well,
right?
he was a freak of nature.
He really was. But there are guys now still that are doing that today that are sitting in the doubles. Granted, it's not every player, but some of your top linemen on both teams do play both ways.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. Can't remember exactly what game I saw that. I had to watch from afar because I was doing all those soccer games. So I was kind of paying attention to your Sweet Home game. That got out of hand quickly. Pioneer kind of did what they had to do. You know what? The teams that won.
There's only one upset.
That's right.
That was it. One upset in the entire rankings that were out there. Only one team caused the upset. Portville over Newfane.
I think we almost called that to some degree because you remember last year how you were saying Lackawanna was going to have a hard time with South Park because they could throw the ball.
Right.
Well, I think that's what the recipe was last week with Newfane and Portville. Portville, if they have to, can throw the ball. Newfane, when they had to throw the ball, they couldn't do it against that defense. They just couldn't throw the ball when it mattered against that Portville defense, and that's what really stuck out with me. I watched that game, the live stream. Norm Palmer did a really good job calling that game.
Always does a great job.
But Portville went into that game a little bit more balanced, I think, than Newfane, and I think I wasn't too surprised by that just because I had seen Portville before, and I knew that Newfane, their quarterback, tough kid, hard runner, but they don't have Nate Snow and the kid they had last year at receiver. That's I think what ultimately cost them.
Matt Capon was a receiver last year.
Yeah.
That he was in fact the game that we did against them against Medina.
Yeah.
Capon was the one who had the game of the day that was out there. But remember, the 1-9 matchup last year was Newfane and Portville, or 1-8. I'm sorry, matchup last year came. It was Portville and Newfane, and Portville got the win last year. And don't think that there aren't players that are in that game that realize that was a team that could come in and do exactly what they did.
The other games that we saw, it was good to see Gowanda, Pine Valley win their first game. Shout out to Coach Brett Ebling. This poor guy lost his dad recently, and the wake for his father is on Friday night. Saturday, they got to go play CSP. So Gowanda, the program will be playing with heavy hearts. So shout out to Coach Brett. I know how tough that is. We're thinking about you. I also got to mention we lost a young man, Kevin Walker, Canisius kid. Not all the details are well known, but this poor kid who obviously shined at Canisius went down to St. Francis. Again, we don't have all the details, so we're not going to speculate, but this young man lost his life, and I want to send a shout-out to his family and all his friends, teammates. We're heartbroken over that. That's tough.
To the whole Canisius community, because he's even come back to help that team after the fact, try to be a part as far as a mentor, a leader out there. And the thing that I heard the most when you talk about this young man, his smile will light up a room. And it's a smile that is infectious, contagious, and it's a man you wanted to be around.
Yeah. Also want to send a shout out to Logan Senek from Niagara Wheatfield. He's battling after a tough injury against that Will North game from a couple of weeks ago. I'm still not 100% clear on exactly what's going on there or what his injury is. I should know. Took a devastating hit. I sent a message out to Eric O'Brien. It sounds like he left the hospital, but had to return. He's having some rough days. He's in a lot of pain. Something with his kidney. But I know that kid's suffering, and I hope he finds they able to get that young man right again and he can come back. But Logan Senek, his name is. There is some kind of GoFundMe or there's something out there to help the kids, the family. Maybe might even just been delivering meals to the family or something. It's a rough patch. So if you go on our Facebook page and search Senek, Senik, it'll bring you the latest details on what's going on there. We wish that kid a full recovery. Also, Lucas Lombardo, his last game out. This kid, I mean, when you talk about warriors and kids you want on your team, a lot of people will start off with Lucas Lombardo. He's just the ideal football player. You open up the dictionary, the word football player, and there's chances you're going to see his Lucas Lombardo's picture and name there. He's a tough kid, and I hope he plays football again someday because he's just a great athlete. And
I'd also include Tryon in that same type of breath. I mean, he really did everything he could for possible.
Lucas left the game, I think, on a stretcher. That's why I singled him out. I know
these guys leave their hearts on the field. Like, Lombardo, Tryon, some of these players that we're out there talking about, they don't want their senior year to be that I got injured and wasn't able to play. And they want to make sure that the last memory that they have is that they were on a football field and did everything they can to be able to help their team take the next level.
Absolutely. why don't we go into our Connolly Cup and Trench Trophy guys so you could see who those were, who those the top performers for Connolly Cup. Thandon Bensick from CWB. Amir Caesar had a great game with Will South, Jaden Clark, Tyrone Clark Jr., no relation, I believe. Tyrone Hughes, Jack Johnson, Justice Kleitz from Iroquois, he's no stranger to that list. Braden Lamont from Akron steps up. Christian Moss from Medina. Adam Nunez, we've seen his name a half a dozen times, South Park. Rocco Panapino gets back in the list from Sweet Home. Billy Slavinsky, Boardsville, Ellicottville. Eli Sleggs, quarterback from Portville. Carter Switek, running back Orchard Park. And Zach Tritley from Salamanca. You're going to be seeing him this Friday night. Those were your Week 9 Players of the Week from the Connolly Cup.
Ed Moss, I'll be seeing Moss there too.
Christian Moss
I have seen him obviously a bunch, but this will be.
Amir Caesar is Antoine Caesar's younger brother. He's got another year left. He's coming back. So season over for Will South, but we'll see that young man again.
Tyrone Clark.
Yeah.
13 carries, 313 yards, 2 penalties that were called back for another 90 yards. He would have ran for over 400 yards on only 15 carries.
That's insane. That is insane. All right. So Trench Trophy guys, there's 6 of them this week. Henry Chamberlain from Portville, Dakota Cochran from Kenmore West, Davion Douglas, Cleve Hill, Michael Jeffords from Wilson, Sammy Platt from Pioneer, and Jamar Swanson from the New Fleeing Panthers. Those are your Week 9 nominees, Trench Trophy, and before that was Connolly Cup. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back with our first guest, Mr. Carter Jabu from the Pioneer Panthers. You're watching Western New York High School Football Weekly.
And remember, you can call me anytime.
Anytime?
Oh, this is my client.
Hello!
Injury attorney William Matar always puts his clients first.
I gotta take this.
There you go.
Sorry, I gotta take this.
He's recovered millions for injured accident victims.
Easy out, easy out. Ooh, it's mine.
This is William.
Hurt in a car? Call William Matar.
Welcome back to Western New York High School Football Weekly. Tom Prince, Frank Wolf, Carter Jabu. We're all here. Look at these handsome young devils. One of them, anyways.
That's because he took me out of the shot. That's why.
Not too bad. So we're bringing Carter in. We haven't really talked much about Pioneer, have we? We talk a lot about Pioneer, but we haven't had a Pioneer guest. I don't think we had did we have Dupree in one week on the Zoom chat?
On the Zoom, did we?
I don't know if we did or not.
No, I don't think we did.
Okay, so Carter, you're the first one. Congratulations. Let's talk about the Pioneer Panthers. You guys haven't lost a game yet, but the season started with a little bit of adversity, tragedy, if you will, in the neighborhood there, unfortunately. So the season kind of got out on a rough note, but you guys were able to put that behind you guys and carry along, and here you are at 9-0, heading into the game against South Park. Just talk about how your season started and where you guys are now.
I feel like we started off pretty slow at the beginning, but we all started bonding as a team, getting together, and pushing through that tragedy that happened with the Cook family. And I think throughout the season, we've all got better and exceeded the goals.
What's one area of the Pioneer Panthers that you would like to see you guys step up just a little bit? Because you guys are doing it, running the ball, Gavin Schwab throwing the ball, defensively with all the turnovers, even on special teams, you guys are doing well. But what is one area that you know, and maybe your teammates know, that if we're going to take this to the next level, and by taking it to the next level is, of course, the section championship, where do you guys have to improve?
I think it all comes down to our special teams because they keep getting big returns on kickoffs. So I think if we get our backside, can keep them contained, keep them inside, I think we have a great shot on doing it.
What's been Coach Dupree's message to you guys this season? Has it changed from last season or even the season before?
The message he's been putting it on us, especially for playoffs, is he's telling us seniors, do you want this to be your last contact practice? Do you want it to be your last practice, your last game on this field, the last time you step onto a field in a high school uniform? And then during the regular season, he was just telling us that no one's better than this team. We all need to be bonded. We're all one. We all have an equal opportunity.
Individually, no one's bigger than the team.
Right.
Okay.
Let's talk about you personally. I know last year was your coming out year, but you're the leader now. There's a big difference now that you know someone left, went off to graduation, right? Talk about how that's taken you as a leader now role on this team and how that's changed from last year to this year.
Dalton's leadership has really left, and he had big shoes to fill. I tried to step in and fill them for him. Obviously, I'm not as big as a leader as he is, but I think we had Gavin Schwab step up, Sam Platt step up, and Isaac Platt also stepped up to a leadership role, and he helped this team bond together.
Leadership doesn't always come, as you know, me being vocal out there that you may have been. So what's your leadership style? What do you do to bring your leadership out?
I like to lead it by example. I like to show the kids not to try and play through hurt, not to baby your injuries, and just lead by example and show them that no matter what, you got to put it all out there.
So in that locker room, obviously you have a ton of great football players. You got a good coaching staff, all that. Is there like a locker room clown or a guy that kind of keeps things loose to kind of, because I know Coach Jim is a very demanding coach, and he's always very serious. He rarely smiles. Who can get Coach to smile? Who can get Coach to?
Ty Richardson.
Okay.
Every day he's always making jokes at practice, having a good time. He always brings the energy at practice, makes everyone smile no matter what.
Is that a senior now, Ty?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he's had some big games for you guys. There's a big cast of characters there of guys that could kind of jump in and make a play. When I saw you guys down in Cortland, you guys were just running through different 7-on-7 teams, programs from all over the state. Then you guys run into CSP. What do you remember from that, and what did you guys learn about yourselves? Because they actually got the best of you, I think, on the last play of the game, like an overtime game.
Yep, overtime, and they had good coverage on us, so Gavin had to just throw it up and hope we came down with it, but they ended up coming down with it. I think coming in that game, we faced adversity for the first time because the rest of the teams, we were just blowing through them like nothing.
It was. They were doing the same thing.
Yeah.
CSP was whipping through teams. And I could see, I'm 200 yards away from them, and I can just see them just lighting up. Like every time I saw Gavin back to pass, touchdown. Yeah. Every time I saw Cat Knees back to pass, touchdown, first down, touchdown. Until those two teams got together, like they never turned the ball over. Like it was just score. They might have had one game, or you guys might have had one game where it was a little closer, but for the most part, it looked like Western New York really took it to at least your two programs.
Yeah. No doubt. Last year, team that you know probably faced the most adversity with, you'd say was Health Sciences.
Yep.
Right? Safe to say. They're sitting on the other side of that bracket as a possibility they get there. What do you think is different about your team to handle a team like that versus what you've got this year versus last year?
I think it's the timing with our quarterback, and it's our line. Our line keeps a good pocket for Gavin and keeps it so we as wide receivers can get open and he can get us the ball.
You consider yourself more of a wide receiver or more of a running back?
I would say running back, because even if I'm not getting the ball, I'm trying to lay down a good block for Isaac to read or for Kason to read or Jacek to read so they can get yards out of it.
Would you rather play defense or offense?
Defense. I think defense is our strongest suit right now.
Yeah.
So we talked off air, though. If you got the opportunity at the next level, where do you think you'd end up?
I think I'd end up at linebacker.
Okay. But isn't there a position that you think?
Tight end. I'd probably go back to tight end.
Which is what I was getting at, because you don't hear a lot of the tight end position inside of the high school game. There are teams that do utilize that, but for the most part it's probably more of a slot position than you see a tight end position out there in a lot of the sets. Don't you agree?
Yep.
Okay, so you're going to go in. What's different going to happen this year? Why is it different this year for you to go and advance farther on than you've done the past couple of years?
I think it's all starts when most of us have all been playing with each other since Little League. So we've all had the connection with each other and been bonded since then. And this is the team that in Little League we won the whole thing. We didn't lose a game. So I think this is the best opportunity that Coach Spray has prepared us, and our line has busted their butts all season. And our prep team, especially, they've busted their butts all season to prep us before every game and get us ready for that game in that week.
Does the coach get any credit for that down in the younger levels?
Yeah.
Michael Riggerman obviously he's a Pioneer Hall of Famer. Has he been around this year at all? I know he had a little stint with the Ravens there when we kind of lost touch with him after that. But have you guys heard from Riggerman? Has he been around at all?
He came to one of our games. I think it was our homecoming game. He came and watched us play, and he was talking to Coach Dupre. I don't know what he said to him. Coach kept that to himself. But
what's it like when you see a kid like that from a small town, very small town? When you see a kid like that make it all the way to the pros, at least got a tryout, does that give you guys reason to believe that there's another Michael Riggerman running around Attica or New York right now?
I think it's cool that he did all that, but I don't see him other than one of the buddies that played high school with my brother. I don't see him any differently.
Okay. But it's cool knowing that
really
there's a kid
cool
from your neighborhood that's...
It's really cool that, if you work hard enough, bust your butts hard enough, you can always get the opportunity to get out and make something of yourself.
I know you said earlier that you haven't really put yourself out there for schools to come calling, but you have heard from some D3 schools.
Yep.
Okay, but if you're going to go, you want to play a higher level, or are you going to be okay if D3 is the only option?
I mean, if D3 is the only option, I would play there, but I would like to play at D2, D1 schools.
Your brother's at Cortland?
Yeah.
You didn't get to play this year because he got in late, but looks like he'll be out there next year. What would it be like to play with your brother again?
That would be an opportunity that I would really look forward to. Playing with him has been a special experience through high school that not many people get to experience.
The last time we saw you, I think you were looking up at Dalton, but I don't think that's the case anymore. He's looking up at you now.
Yeah.
What are you, I think your dad said you were 4 inches taller?
4 or 5 inches, yeah.
My goodness. So who's going to eat more at Thanksgiving? You or... yeah.
Right,
Well, I don't know. He wasn't he told he had to put on weight?
Yeah, you gotta put on a lot of weight.
But we know you got a tough game coming up with South Park, round 2. They got a fantastic running game, good coached, well-coached team up and down. Any thoughts of being matched up with them for a second round?
I think they're a very fast, strong, and well-coached team. But I think if we do what we do best and we keep them to a minimum of having the ball, hold on to the ball and run the clock out a little, we'll do pretty well against them.
First game you played, if I was to say to you, what was the key to victory the first time you played, what is your answer?
Turnovers. Our defense. Our defense came in really big when it mattered most, and they came up with a turnover that sealed the game.
So there you go, turnovers. And, they don't happen every single game. If you don't have the turnovers this game, what has to happen?
We got to own the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. Our front four is probably the best front four we've had at Pioneer, and in my opinion. And I think if we own the line of scrimmage, they won't stand a chance.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today. I know it's a bit of a ride home. I will see you out there Friday night. I'm doing the game with Mike Bunt and Ryan Gallo. So you got 2 guys calling the game that know the teams well to do a good job for you. And wish you guys the best of luck. And we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll see you Tuesday at the stadium, too.
Yep.
That's Carter Jabu. We're going to take a quick sponsor break. You're watching Western New York High School Football Weekly.
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, We're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA, with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
For an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs, more information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
Ready, Bobby?
Yeah.
At freeway speeds, it can take an 18-wheeler far too long to stop.
Now?
A little bit of a roll. Little slower start to the season, maybe the first couple of games until you guys really caught fire. You got your offense moving pretty good, and then that game against McKinley didn't go your way. That was a shocker to some of us. And now you got this big game against another top quarterback in Rocco Penapeno and Sweet Home, so that's going to be a lot of fireworks. Are you excited about that one? I got to imagine.
Yes, sir. Very excited.
What's been your favorite part to this season so far? Are you guys, is your team living up to the expectations you guys set at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, definitely. We're very bonded right now, and we're just focusing on us. And we know that the only team that can beat us right now is us. So just focusing on us.
I think that was pretty evident at the beginning of the year when we saw you guys interacting at different camps or 7-on-7s, and I think we saw you the first time we saw you was at Sweet Home for the cross training athletics top 100, and looks like you had a pretty good rhythm with your guys. So you guys are on the cusp of something, carrying on a special season. You guys had a real special season last year. Coach Bergio, obviously, you guys captured the Section 6 championship first time since he's been at the helm. This year, Yale University, he lost his dad. I'm sure that had weighted you guys down a little bit, seeing that your head coach is suffering a little bit with the loss of a parent. That's never easy, but you guys seem to handle everything in stride. What was one of the focal points of the season when you knew that you guys were going to be in a dogfight for the long haul here? Like, things may not come as easy as you wanted it to. Where did you guys start to see that you guys may have to up your game just even more?
Well, just going into the off season, we knew that we'd lost 9 seniors. So going into the off season, we knew we had a great season last year, and we knew that we had to work even harder because we knew we'd have a target on our back. So just working harder in the off season and falling back on that because we just built such a strong connection.
Bryce, of those seniors, your line pretty much stayed intact, though, didn't it? So where were the seniors? What positions were you looking to replace out there?
We had some great skill positions on offense, some wide receivers, and obviously those linebackers last year, Hayden Harrison and Jake Mattoon. Yeah. They were the real deal. So some tough positions to fill.
So I'm dying to ask you this question, okay? You put out a nice tweet this week with your obviously your plays of the week right there. You were angry, though. You said we were angry.
Mm-hmm.
What were you angry about?
The McKinley game. McKinley is a great team. They have a lot of great players, but we knew we didn't play Clarence ball at all. We knew that we weren't as disciplined as we should have been, and we were angry going into Star Point because we know what team we are, and we know what we can be when we're that team.
You guys are a pretty balanced team, like the one you're about to face in Sweet Home. What separates teams like Clarence McKinley, Sweet Home from some of the others that you face?
Just being together as a team, and like through adversity, we don't point fingers or anything. We just stay together and just believing in ourselves. We know the work and the preparation we've put in, and we know we can get the job done.
Who are some of those unsung heroes on your football team right now that, may have stepped up in a critical role to make a play for you guys throughout the season? Who are some of those guys that we may never talk about that you want to recognize?
I mean, we've got a lot. I don't think our defense is talked about enough. I think our defense gives us plenty of opportunities on offense to get the ball. I'd say our linebackers, I talked about we lost some linebackers, and we've had some linebackers step up and really be physical. A.J. Ditas, he's our middle linebacker right now. Joel Cristal, Michael McCarthy. These are linebackers and Matt Majewski, I mean, they're very physical, and they're really stepping up to the plate, and they're getting better and better each game. And then offensively, I mean, we don't really talk about our O-line a lot. Clarence's O-line. We got 3 juniors who were great last year, but they didn't get complacent in the offseason. They got stronger. They got smarter. Caius Mattoon, Ivan Pozlowski, and Talon Angasser, they're the real deal. And being behind those guys, that's like, I have all the confidence in the world in them. And them just they got better and stronger after last year, after the great season they had last year. We don't talk about them much. So
who's your center?
Owen Gratchula. He's a senior, and he's really stepped up, and he's gotten better and better each game, and I know I can count on him. He knows the playbook like the back of his hand. So,
Watching your game from last year to this year, I think that I've seen you on the run more than we did last year. Talk about what you've done different with your legs, especially to be able to find some open space for your throws.
Yeah, last year I had a high ankle sprain most of the year. I injured it twice, and this year, I mean, the preparation in the off season, just getting faster, getting stronger, and then just mentally, I know how many guys are in the box. I know how many guys are in coverage, and I know that if we have the numbers in the box, then I can run the ball, and that just opens up the pass as well. So being able to run the ball has really helped our offense this year.
You come off a year last year where you won the sectional championships, go to the Far West Regionals, and you know your goal was to advance past there. What did you learn the first game of the year when you got a chance to face one of the teams that you could have seen? Obviously, we've been told that they've lost already, but what did you learn in that game that you guys can get better so you can advance to what you want to do?
That Monroe game, the score didn't really tell the story. We were in that game for a while, and it was just a few little mistakes here and there that were really the difference in the game. And it was 14-7 at halftime, and we fumbled at the 1-yard line. Like, those mistakes are really the mistakes that lose you football games. And when you're playing teams like that have Division I guys all over the field, you really can't make those mistakes. You have to play a perfect game. So,
for you guys to come in Friday night and pull out a victory, I'm going to steal one of Tom's questions. What's it going to take? Like, where's your path to victory?
I mean, our defense has got to do what they've been doing all year. They've got to give our offense enough opportunities to win the game. Our O-line has to give our wide receivers and our running backs enough opportunities to make plays. And all I got to do is my job. I've got to take what they give me, and I've got to have no turnovers.
Talked about D1 guys that are on the other side of the field in your first game. Hey, you're in that boat now too, right? You've got your first big offer that you know you've got out there. Talk about what you're doing to make sure you are seen at that next level and going to have even more opportunities come your way.
Just not being satisfied. The college process with football is a tough process, and sometimes you can get your mind entangled with it. But right now, the focus is the Clarence Red Devils, and the focus is Friday night. And that's just where my mind is right now. It's nowhere else, and that's how the colleges will see me when we win the state finals.
You guys had that opportunity to play at Highmark Stadium last year. Across the field from you on Friday night is a group of seniors that haven't gotten there, so they're gonna give it all, their all.
Mm-hmm.
How do you take the wind out of their sails?
I mean, Sweet Home, they've got a great leader. They've got Rocco. They kind of remind me of us last year. I mean, they're 8-1. They're on the top of everything, but we're us this year. We're the Clarence Red Devils this year, and we've been here before. We know what adversity is, and we know that we're going to face adversity. They've got playmakers all over the field. But our preparation and what we think we are as a team, we know that we can get the job done.
Has practice routine changed at all this week from weeks ago, or is it everything the same?
Everything's the same. We're the same team that we are, and we know what we're capable of.
Very good.
You're coming in as a 3 seed, so technically you're the underdog in this game. You haven't played that role much at all. Has that changed the tone of practices or conversations just because of you guys could be fitting that underdog role now?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't think we see all this media? We see Legends in the Making posting Sweet Home victory. I mean, that fuels us. And I mean, yeah, man, we're ready.
It was about a month ago. I was taking my kid to school, and we were running a little bit late because we stopped to grab a coffee in the morning. And there was a young man named O'Brien from Clarence getting a coffee, and that was it. But real nice kid. Had a real nice chat with him.
Yeah,
Who's
OB.
that guy? Yeah, tell me about this
That's
guy.
one of our centers. I mean, that man he's a pleasure to have on the team. Like, he cares about Clarence football so much, and he shows it every practice. I mean, it's guys like that you want on the team that really, really care. Like, he told me, he's like, I can't imagine just missing a practice. He was at every single offseason thing that we had this year.
Nice.
That kid is, man, you just love to have those kids on the team.
You had a great turnout in the off season for all those workouts. Is because you guys knew how far or how hard you worked before, only to come up a little bit short at the Far West Regionals. You guys know what it's going to take to get past there. So is that why it was so easy to buy in during this offseason?
Yeah, I think it's our leadership. We've got a lot of leaders on this team that really want it, and guys buying in. It's huge, and the offseason is that's where you get better as a team. That's where you win the state championships, is in the offseason and not being satisfied with last year. We weren't satisfied with winning a section championship.
This is a very easy question, but we got to ask it anyways. Obviously, a lot of people around town are talking about you for some prestigious awards. Prestigious award or a state championship?
A state championship.
Is that the dumbest question he's been asked today?
No, but I mean,
Is it the dumbest question you've been asked today? Is it in the top 5?
Listen, no matter what, of course you're going to say your team. As a leader, you better say that, right?
Yeah.
But there's also a side of us that says, "Boy, we do want our names as a part of these things," because the only way to have your name as a part of these things, you had to do something well as a team at the same time.
Right.
So,
outside yourself, who's the guy in Clarence? Take yourself out of the mix for a second. Who's been making things happen for Clarence this year from week 1 until now?
And that's a tough question. We've got dogs all over the field, but if I had to say one guy, it'd be Jefferson Long. Jefferson Long plays offense and defense. He runs the ball and catches the ball. He's got over 400 yards rushing. He's got over 400 yards catching. He makes plays on defense. Offenses have to be scared of him. Like, he goes out there and he's a freaking playmaker out there. Like,
awesome. I mean, when I did your game against Well North, you guys were banged up still at that point. You've gone through some injuries this year. How healthy are you now at this point of the season?
We just have the next man up mentality. We've definitely got a couple. I mean, every team's got injuries this late in the season. It's football. People are going to get hurt, but we've got players that are stepping up. Preston Zwolinski, he's playing offense. He could play any position. Like, you need those guys on the team. He could play any position on offense. He's smart. You need smart players. So just people are stepping up where we need them.
Football IQ is
Definitely.
that's the one thing I noticed too. This particular team is that the IQ is just even higher than it was a year before. I think that will help carry them.
I'll tell you in the game that I liked in Will North, what I liked about the Clarence team. You were, as you know, a passing team in the first half, and then switched your identity in the second half. As you remember, your player, your running back that was injured, in fact.
Van Horn.
But he was injured how many weeks, though, we're talking about before then? Like, it was a couple weeks.
1 or 2, yeah.
And then he wasn't planning on even playing in this game until Coach says in the locker room, said, "Can you go for me?"
Yeah.
Absolutely, Coach. And that was one of the kids that stands up inside that game. But what I loved is that you could win different styles of games. And talk about that. Talk about it as you don't have to necessarily be the guy that can put the team on their shoulders. You can ask other people to also step up into those roles.
Yeah, I mean, statistically, we have 3 400 yards plus receivers: Patrick Wynn, Jefferson Long, David Van Horn. We pass the ball, and on the other side, we have 3 400 yard rushers. We've got me, Van Horn, and Jeff, and we can do both, and it all starts with the O-line. I mean, you always say it. We've got the O-line. They can pass block. They give me time to pass block, and when we run the ball, they're nasty. They are nasty. Yeah.
I do it every game. Tell me you don't do this. Do you not look at the other line when they're warming up and go, okay, I got to feel about this game right from the beginning?
Yep.
That's where it begins. It begins and ends right there. Because if you can get the time to do what you are capable of, you get a hole for that running back right out there, whoever's running the ball that day. That's the key right there. That's where it all begins and ends.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to step in front of our line, that's for sure.
We do wish you the best of luck on Friday, and appreciate you coming on today, coming all the way out here to do the show in studio. That was cool. I thought we were going to have to come to your house.
No.
We were ready.
Well, thank you guys for making high school athletics exciting and really giving us exposure. So it's really appreciated.
Sweet. Yeah, we like doing it, and it's easy when you have kids like yourself to talk about good kids. So, again, we do wish you the best of luck, and whatever happens, just stay healthy, and your career is going to go as far as you want it to, the way you conduct yourself on and off the field. So, one game isn't going to make or break you, right?
Yes, sir.
So we'll just keep going. That guy's a sweet home grad over there.
Oh, man.
I was going to say that out the air, but I had to get your reaction. This poor guy over here, he didn't want to say anything all day. He wanted.
That's the only good news I get. I never have to say that I went to one of the schools that'll go against them. So.
No, but if, huh? Yeah, I know we're on. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the Cornwall guys. Are they still Class A?
Yeah.
So see, if you get all the way to JMA, you got to run into this kid's school because they seem to be out at.
Well, who was it?
Cornwall.
West Seneca ran into them.
Yep.
A couple schools.
West Seneca East and I remember the other one.
I can't remember the other one.
But they won both times. So.
What section are they?
Section 9. Yeah. Right down near the Newburgh.
So is that the semifinal or is that the?
That'd be the final.
No, that'd be the final.
They'll be coming up the other side.
And trust me, I would love to see a Section 16 beat this Cornwall, so I have to stop hearing about it. It's all good, though. But thank you very much for coming on. We're going to take another quick break. Western New York High School Football Weekly. Thanks to Bryce Tewin for joining us.
Build your next connection. Earn your next internship. Crush your next goal. What will you do next?
Logistics Plus is a global transportation provider headquartered in Erie, PA with locations worldwide, including right here in Western New York. Logistics Plus is consistently recognized as a fast-growing transportation and logistics company, great supply chain partner, top freight broker, leading project cargo manager, and a great place to work. With a strong passion for excellence, our 500-plus employees put the plus in logistics.
For an efficient, personal approach for all of your transportation needs, more information about our Buffalo office is available at logisticsplus.com/Buffalo.
You know what?
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready. We're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
We've got a VIP at 3 o'clock. We're gonna go side right, pick, Riptide Blazer, safety key, full boat up 3. On now, ready?
They're all VIPs.
Go Team West Herb.
We're back. Tom Prince, Frank Wolf, Tim Gardner, Western New York High School Football Weekly. We're going to get into this, but it's playoff time. We talked a little bit about Monsignor Martin earlier. We just had Bryce Tubin in from Class A, Clarence Red Devils. Where were we going to start? We were going to do the Class D playoff picture, so why don't we roll into that? Okay. And if you can bring that graphic up, we'll talk a little bit of Class D. We had our bye weeks for CSP and Randolph last week. They gave both teams a little bit of a chance to heal up a little bit. An extra week of practice never hurt anybody, especially for Randolph, who had the injury to Jackson Morrison. I don't know if he's 100% this week. I heard he was. They're going to take on Franklinville, Ellicottville for the right to play either CSP or go on to Pine Valley. Again, CSP has been just the class of Class D. There's no other way to say it. The way their offense operates, they just got a solid rhythm to it. Tate Ketney's is on the same page with all of his receivers. You throw a running game in there, and the coaching staff there, the tough defense. CSP is just always a tough out. Go on to Pine Valley. They're a little younger. They're looking for that experience. They didn't do great in their first time out with CSP. They're going to get another opportunity on Saturday. I believe that game's at Panama. I don't know exactly where that is. If you're watching at home and you want to tell us exactly where that game is, I know we're not going to be able to get to it because we have other commitments with Health Sciences and Lackawanna, and then we got something else going on for Monsignor Martin. But either way, those are going to be some it's supposed to go CSP's way, but that's why they play the game. And go on to Pine Valley. We know that they have a good quarterback that can stretch the field, so you have to be careful. You have to be mindful of that. Not sure about what kind of running game they're bringing to the table right now. We'll have to wait and see. Gowanda, yeah. We don't know what kind of running game they're bringing to the table, but they did fairly well last week against Chautauqua Lake. We know they ultimately lost on a last-second play, but Gowanda Pine Valley is playing their best football right now, and that's when you have to play your best football is late in the year. I don't give them much of an opportunity to beat CSP, if I'm being honest, because CSP is just so in tune with that offense, and they've been playing together 3 years or more.
You asked about the running backs. Slade and Mentley Peters are their two big guys. Slade with 317 yards on the season, and Mentley Peters at 303 yards on the season. Their third rusher is Capozzi.
Okay. So we had Capozzi in last week when we did our show at Quantum Wellness. We had a good time there with Dan Tober. Thank you very much for your hospitality. Appreciate that. And D. Tom, Randolph Franklinville is the marquee matchup in D.
It was the game that shocked us this year. This may be one of the biggest shocks that we've had all year.
Randolph beating.
50.
It wasn't
that they beat them.
Yes.
It was that
the way they beat them. Yes.
17.
We thought that was a mistake.
You know, we everybody did, but we were getting the updates, so we knew it wasn't a mistake that was happening. But Connor Braley went for 245 yards on the ground inside this game. But remember, too, even though Franklinville Ellicott only scored 17, Isaactown threw for 304 yards that day also. It was definitely two different styles going at each other, but you also wonder if the style of Franklinville Ellicottville was because they were playing from behind in that one and had to go to the air much more than they probably wanted to.
I agree. So we've got the Randolph-Franklinville game at Randolph this Friday night. CSP will play go on to Pine Valley on Saturday. Good luck to those four teams. The winners will meet at Highmark a week later, and that D game, I want to say, Tom, is the first game on Friday. So it's like a 3 o'clock game Friday? Thursday, I'm sorry.
3 games are Friday's 2 games.
Is it? Okay. Timmy, are you sure about that? Okay. Thursday there's 3 games, 2 games Friday. They really don't like us at Highmark. They really don't.
But obviously, I mean, I think it's for the exact reason that you had pointed out, is that there's a game there this weekend.
Oh yeah, Taylor Swift's coming in, so we got to make all the.
They got to make sure everything's done and taken care of, and you know, it's 3 games is a long day, and when we do 3 games, getting out of there with all that equipment is not the easiest thing to do, and I know they're going to probably be pushing for us to get out, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean it just from the standpoint of, obviously, you got to get ready yourselves for a bigger game.
100%. So let's see. Let's go into our C's. C playoff picture looks at Portville knocked off the top-ranked Newfane team out of C North. They are going to travel down to Chautauqua Lake, where they'll take on CWB, who got by Alden last weekend. Salamanca on the other side beat Cleve Hill. Medina beat Falconer, Cassadaga Valley, Maple Grove. That was last Thursday. You were there, Tom. But we watched that one. You didn't do it, but you watched that one.
Oh, I watched the whole game. I had to its finish, obviously, because it was a Thursday game, and we didn't have one out there. You know, this really will be, I know we keep saying it, but a battle of running games. And to do that, it's going to be a battle of the lines right here. I've been saying all year, Medina's that very young line that has gotten more and more experience as this season has gone on. But you know as well as I do, this Salamanca team is for real, and they have a line that is not just a line that you may think is big and C. This is a line that can compete up at much higher levels.
And, you know, to Medina's credit, they did go up against Falconer last week that has a big line. Very physical line, extremely physical line. So they at least saw a line that's going to get very physical with them. I don't know if that's Salamanca's line's a probably step above Falconer's, but still, at least you had that tough line in front of you. So there's some highlights from the the Portville Salamanca game from a while back, and Salamanca really is a very well balanced team. They haven't lost all season. They are your reigning Section 6 Class C champions. They will play, well, this Class C championship that's the Friday night game. Then Friday, 5 o'clock. No, that's Thursday too? All right, well, I'm so confused. I still think there's 3 games on Friday, but if you tell me there isn't, I'll believe you. All right, so that's the middle game, 6 o'clock Thursday. I always thought at the stadium they should reverse them, and I say that because you know the D's and C's have to travel the farthest to get there. It's around the block. Anyways.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you at all. You know,
there's some more highlights.
When we look at this bracket, and I'll tell you, probably the most intriguing matchup has to be what happened not this past week with Portville beating Newfane, but remember, they went and just played Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton, just played them one last week, 24-7. Remember, we sent Jake Fyock to that game, and it was coming out of the gates. This is a 7-6 ball game in favor of Chautauqua Lake, Westfield, Brockton at halftime, and then 18 unanswered points gets put up by Portville right there, and it was a tale of 2 halves that Portville, especially that defense, took control in the second half.
Yeah, so CWB will get another shot at Portville to kind of right the wrongs from a few weeks ago. You know, Tom, Portville, they've been pretty consistent for most of the season, meaning they've brought the same style, the same toughness week in, week out. I know they had a couple losses in there. They even fell out of our rankings for a little bit. You know, I think they had a bad half against Salamanca. Was that week 1?
No, remember it was a fluke play and how the game ended?
I thought it was late in the season. We'll pull that one up.
So Portville lost to Salamanca week 2, 24-19.
Okay.
And it was 12-12 at halftime. Salamanca was up by 6 after the third quarter, and then Portville scored to take their lead by 1, and then lost it later in the fourth quarter right there.
And CWB to me, Tom, we'll talk a little bit more about Salamanca Portville if it happens next week, but CWB to me, you know, you talk about teams needing to find ways to win. They're a young team. They still have to try to learn how to close games out. That's why they've looked a little shaky. they've looked shaky the last 3 to 4 weeks. So CWB, they got to regroup. They got to do what they've been doing all season, what got them this far, because they are a pretty good team. But they've been, I don't want to say playing down to competition, but they just haven't been going out and playing CWB type football the last few weeks. So
I will say last week they played Alden, who's been very strong this year.
Right.
And if you remember, they were down in the third quarter in this one, and then all of a sudden the Jets went on, and they did find a way to win that in the second half where they really started to pull away in that one.
So CWB, they need a fast start against Portville. You don't want to be one of those teams playing from behind against a defense like Portville. And the same thing with Medina. You don't want Salamanca jumping out to a 2-score lead and having to play catch up. That's tough for a young team like Medina. You want to stay within a drive, right? And give yourself an opportunity. If either one of these games get to where it's like Portville up by a couple of scores, Salamanca up by a couple of scores, I think it's going to be tough for CWB Medina to climb back in. But I will tell you, CWB does have that big play mentality, big play ability. Portville just has a very stingy defense, as does Salamanca, and that's why they've been successful this year and why Salamanca is the overall #1 seed and why there's a very good chance that they could repeat.
Hey, listen, Medina, I've seen them a bunch. They're going to want to control that clock in that game. They want to see if they can control it with the run game out there and to see if they can limit the amount of possessions in that game. Maybe something key that they're going to have to do to pull that one off.
I know in a little bit we'll be bringing Tom Lang over the game, but he hasn't jumped in yet, has he? Okay. Why don't we go into B? I think he was coming in about 8:15. Why don't we go into B? Last week, Pioneer got by Maryville. That was at Pioneer. South Park wins at Will South. Lackawanna, you had that game against Grand Island. Lackawanna's Tyrone Clark had over 300 yards rushing. Health Sciences took care of Olean. No major surprises here, Tom. All the higher seeds have won. So a lot of people, nothing jumping out that was strange here. We thought maybe Grand Island would play up to Lackawanna and shock something. That could have been the shock because Lackawanna lost the game last year to South Park.
We also thought Maryville could do the same
And
exact thing.
we thought Maryville, if 100% healthy and they went with those 2 studs, maybe they could have made a game at that one. And then Olean, it was good to see them sneak into the playoffs because they kind of struggled out of the gate. They've been struggling the last few years. To see them get a shot at the postseason here, that says a lot about the coaching staff and the players that they have there. Congratulations to Olean. But Health Sciences does get the win.
They didn't know they were going to get in, if you remember.
It came down to the last week.
It came down to if Maryville won, Olean got knocked out, and Iroquois would have gotten in. But Lackawanna winning got them into the playoffs.
So Pioneer and South Park, that's Friday night. I'll be at that game. Lackawanna Health Science Saturday. You'll be at that one, Tom.
This is going to be fun. You get down to usually this point in the season, there's not a bad game out there. This is where you got the best teams left so far. And I'm going to tell you, this is going to be an absolute fun ride the next couple weeks.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it as everyone else is. Let's see here. That's Class B. Tom, I don't like saying who's going to win. These are high school kids. It's not really our thing to do that. But I am looking forward to some good games. And, Pioneer Lackawanna still undefeated. You'd be crazy not to want to see that matchup at Highmark, but we'll have to wait and see. You can never count out a team like South Park, and you sure as heck can't count out Ty Parker and Health Sciences, BASC, whatever they're called now, whatever that. Charter BSC. Yeah, BASC. There's something about a Ty Parker coach team. There's some talent there, obviously. So, and playing Saturday, that'll be a battle.
Remember this in the Pioneer South Park game. They played South Park, if you remember, the week after Nunez goes for the record. And there's something to say with going on the field after that's happened because you can only go down from there in a lot of cases. So you wonder in a little bit what the mentality is, and will there be a different mentality going into this game? I mean, obviously, we love Pioneer, and this is something I've said over and over again. What I love about this defense, and it's something that you don't say about many teams, But this is what you do say with Pioneer. It is a true team defense. I can't tell you the amount of times that you'll do a game where you're not going to say who the guy is on the tackle because there's 5 guys in on the tackle. And it's a truly team tackle out there and a team defense.
And there's another look at Gavin Schwab getting a pass off to, I'm not sure who that was, if that was one of the Platts. And here's Carter Jabu. Look at the way he runs an open field once he gets to that next level. Not a lot of people could catch him, just like his older brother, Dalton. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough out for anybody. I think they match up well with South Park there. Why don't we take a quick 2-minute break? We'll be back after a word from our sponsors. You're watching Western New York High School Football Weekly, Playoff Edition.
We've got a VIP at 3 o'clock. We're gonna go side right pick, Riptide Blazer, safety key, full boat up 3. On now, ready?
They're all VIPs.
Go Team Western.
And remember, you can call me anytime.
Anytime?
Oh, this is my client.
Hello! Injury attorney William Matar always puts his clients first.
I gotta take this.
There you go.
So, I gotta take this.
He's recovered millions for injured accident victims.
Easy out, easy out. Ooh, it's mine. This is William.
Hurt in a car? Call William Matar.
We are proud to serve our country, to serve our local communities, to wear the uniform, to be a soldier, to serve abroad when and where duty calls. We are ready to stand with our brothers and sisters to defend, to serve, to fight. We're always ready, we're always there. We are the New York Army National Guard.
Welcome back to Western New York High School Football Weekly. It's Frank Wolf along with Tom Prince, Tim Gardner producing. Nobody on camera. It's just a static camera tonight. Russ is out in Lakeshore doing volleyball tonight. Mario, and Mario couldn't make it. We are going to go into Class A playoff bracket. I know in a little bit we're going to be bringing Tom Lingworthy in from Jamestown and then Brian Davis after that. But why don't we go to Class A? And here we are, Tom. McKinley took care of Will East last week. Won, I believe, by 2 scores. Ken West had a good day against West Seneca West on Saturday. So those 2 teams will meet up for the second time this year. You know, the McKinley, that Ken West game is on Thursday. You're on the call with Jake Fyack. McKinley last a few weeks ago, they lost to Ken West in a very close game, but I believe they were without Tyrone Hughes, so that could have a different flavor to it when you add Hughes into the mix. Sweet Home gets by Will North.
I think he came out. He got hurt during this game, is what it was.
He's been playing hurt for most of the season.
No doubt about it.
So.
Absolutely. And McKinley is a completely different team with Hughes in there, period. He really is. But this was a shootout. Right? 36-33 was the score the first time they played.
Yeah. So Sweet Home gets by Will North. Clarence gets by Star Point. Those 2 teams, those high octane offenses will go at it at Sweet Home. I mean, you're laughing. You got a smile on your face.
Because this is going to be one hell of a game. I mean, this, and I put this out on social media, this truly could be a game for the ages that we may see out there. It'll be very interesting to see exactly how the dynamic of this game goes. I wouldn't be surprised, obviously, we've got track stars all over the place on both sides. Could this be one of those, like every time that we've seen Sweet Home play Orchard Park, one of those 50-48 games? Could that be something like that? Absolutely. could I also not be surprised that both defenses come up big and be able to slow an offense down? I wouldn't even be surprised like that, and to see a game that's a lower scoring game that comes down to the team's last possession that has the ball out there.
Our producer, Tim, is putting those highlights together. You weren't at the Clarence-Ken West game, were you? You were at the Will East Kenmore West game. Timmy.
Will East Kenmore.
Okay. I just want to see what I know Clarence took it to Ken West as that game went on. But I'll tell you, the Ken West team, ever since Sweet Home, they've turned their entire program around almost. It's like a switch. And it might have been that McKinley game where things started to turn around. Here's some highlights from Saturday, Ken West and West Seneca West.
Let me give you the exact so you can get an idea of who they played and where it's come out. So if we look at the Ken West team and what they've done after that game right there. So that they played McKinley. They win, or I'm sorry, you want to go to the Clarence game. I apologize. So the Clarence game was week 2. They lost 40-24 week 2 to them. They then turned around, had to play Sweet Home the next week, which again was a loss to Sweet Home. Then they go big win over Hamburg, win over McKinley, win over Star Point, win over North Tonawanda, win over Kenmore East. And it gets us to where, and then the West Seneca West game in the playoffs.
I saw a little of that Ken West Seneca West game on Saturday. And again, it took Ken West a little bit to wake up, but once they did, they seemed to pull away in that game. So they face a McKinley team that's coming off a huge week and a win over Clarence, who hadn't lost a Section 6 team all year.
You could really say a huge 2 weeks even.
Yeah.
That was a nice win over Williamsville East, especially with a quarterback that knows how to throw the ball in that one, that you've had to defend out there and really make sure that you can stop them going with the pass.
So you're going to see McKinley, Ken West. Now that's at All High Stadium Thursday night at a game on NFHS Network. All the games from now on are on NFHS Network because of where we are in the playoffs. But they seem to have gotten some things figured out offensively. And Tom, I think you said it exactly right. Once Tyrone Hughes came back into the mix, it kind of changed everything for McKinley. They seem to wake up, if you will, and really start to play the kind of football that they are capable of playing. Hard running, fast, quick to the outside. And then just, we saw them play against St. Joe's, and that was just a tough matchup. You didn't even have Tyrone Hughes for that game, so that was a tough matchup. The quarterback was running for his life.
Ford, if you remember, only played to halftime in that one, too.
Yeah, so you're not going to see that kind of defensive pressure, I don't think, from Ken West. That's not St. Joe's line. But even still, Ken West knows they can beat McKinley. And that could be huge for them, for the confidence. But McKinley was not at their best. They weren't as sharp as they should have been against Ken West the first time out, and they didn't have Hughes. I expect McKinley to have another big day. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. That's why they play the game. On the other hand, Sweet Home Clarence, Sweet Home has had a hell of a year. Defensively, I think they pose as many threats to the Clarence offense as that Monroe team, in the sense that I think they can disrupt some things, some route running. They've got some of the best cornerbacks at Sweet Home, but can they get Tubin flushed out of the pocket? Because he could run. So do you flush him out of the pocket, get him on the run, and maybe take him off that first target, have him to take a look at his second or third check, if you will? Rocco's pretty good too. I mean, his guys are getting open. His guys are creating space. They're stretching the field. Defensively, they've played so well. And they weren't playing this good defensively at the beginning of the year. They were struggling. They were giving up a lot of points. And they seemed to figure something out schematically. Something's changed the last few weeks with Sweet Home. They've become a more balanced team. Before it was just offense, and then it was offense and special teams, and now it's offense, special teams, and defense. So Clarence is getting Sweet Home at the worst possible time because they are playing their best football. and Clarence is coming off a big loss to McKinley. They haven't lost all season. That could make Clarence an even tougher opponent because now they know that if they don't come out and focus, if they come out a little more relaxed, they could get bounced out of the playoffs, and that's the last thing they want, especially those seniors.
Well, look at it. We haven't seen a score like that against Star Point by anybody. So they came in with a purpose inside that game. The question is, can the purpose carry over?
Yeah.
And then what kind of mindset is by both teams as entering this game? But I think both teams are coming in with the thought process that we can win this game.
That could come down to a last possession type game there. McKinley, Ken West, that's another game that we'll be keeping a close eye on Thursday night. That's tomorrow. We'll have to stop up there and maybe we'll check out the first half. Here, you and Jake.
Excited. It'll be a great one.
Why don't we take a quick break? We'll come back. Western New York Athletics High School Football Weekly. Word from our sponsors coming up.
And remember, you can call me anytime.
Anytime?
Oh, this is my client.
Hello!
Injury attorney William Mattar always puts his clients first.
I gotta take this.
There you go.
Sorry, I gotta take this.
He's recovered millions for injured accident victims.
Easy out, easy out. Ooh, it's mine.
This is William.
Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar.
Welcome back to Western New York High School Football Weekly. Yeah. Playoffs, baby. Semifinal week for Section 6. The winners this week advance to Highmark Stadium. Doesn't get any better than that. Let's go into, we're going to have an interview with Coach Tom Langworthy. I believe he's in the bullpen. There he is. Look at this guy. Coach Langworthy from the Jamestown Red and Green. Is it red and green or green and red? It's red and green? All right. Coach, can you hear us okay?
Yes, I can.
All right, we got to get Coach's volume up. Could be on our end.
Can you hear me?
Hold on there, Coach. Coach Tom Langworthy in the Jamestown Red and Green. They are going to make another return trip up to Bennett All-High Stadium. That's Friday night. They were there, I think, week 5 it was. They were up there, and they hung in there with the Tigers. Week 4 it was? Okay. Coach Langworthy, thank you for joining us. You're looking good.
Thanks. Excited for the playoffs. Feel great.
So Jamestown, you guys got a bullseye right now. As usual, because you're Jamestown, you're like Bennett, you're like Lancaster, no stranger to the playoffs. You guys have had successful teams year in, year out. You're not too far from playing out at the semis out there in Cicero, North Syracuse. I think we saw you. So, you've had some very good teams last year, younger team, but now you're back and battling for a semi-playoff game here at Bennett. How's the team looking right now?
We're doing great. We're excited for the competition. We know this is high stakes, and I think that we've seen our team grow a ton throughout the year. As a coach, that's been really gratifying to see a team grow. We have quite a few juniors and some sophomores in addition to our seniors. And our team has grown. We've gotten much better throughout the year, which is always gratifying. And emotionally, I think we've gotten much stronger throughout the year. And that happens. That happens in AA. You have to go through these games, and you play against fantastic teams. You play against excellent athletes, and you play against great coaches. Coach against great coaches, and you become hardened. And if you stay healthy, and I think everyone's banged up right now, then this is really what you're playing for. So we're excited. Our kids are excited. We're looking forward to the challenge and the opportunity. And this is one of the really fun parts is the playoffs.
We knew about Bloomquist coming into the year. We knew about Panabianco. we may not have known a whole lot about Banta. Why don't you tell us a little about this young man who's having a heck of a season?
Well, Chase is a really good football player, and last year he was a blocking back for us. He blocked a lot and played some linebacker. And then when we had an injury right around week 5, Carson Bain injured his knee, and we were shuffling some backs around, and then Bonta came in and got hot, and then we really leaned on him. He stepped up at a time where we really needed him to last year. Um, he's a big back. He's got good vision. He's got a lot of experience. He's played running back his whole life. He's a big back. He's physical. He likes to get downhill, and that fits us. That fits what we do. And so he's had a great year. Of course, like you mentioned, Bloomquist and him are a really great 1-2 punch together. They're similar in a lot of ways, but they're also different in some ways too. So, I'm really proud of both of those guys, and both those guys are playing on defense for us and making a ton of tackles.
Coach, as I said, Jamestown's just one of those teams that just always seems to be in the mix in those championship rounds of a season, which is what we're in right now. That's why I refer to you guys having that bullseye on your back, because you guys are just well known for having a team always in the dance. What is going through your locker room right now? You're about to play a team that has played for a state title 2 of the last 3 years, and last year made it to the semifinal round. They're the heavy favorite. Everyone is going to say that Bennett's a heavy favorite coming into Friday night. How do you play that down and talk to your players about going in as an underdog?
The only thing that matters is what happens between 7 and 10 p.m. So we have to be able to control those variables that we have control over. We have a style and a brand that we like to play. And if we execute, we'll be able to play that brand. And I think that gives us a lot of our identity and a lot of our swagger going into the game. And I think we have a very clear picture in our room of what we are and what we want to be, and that's playing clean physical football. That's being fundamentally sound. That's making sure that we play as together as one, and that if we run in, we feel like we're able to run the ball and play physical. And we also have some experiences where we feel like if we run into some adversity, we can really, we have experience working ourselves out of those things. So to us, we really are just focusing on playing a good, clean game, preparing for Bennett. And, Bennett's an outstanding team. They've got, some really tremendous players, and they play hard, and they're a great team. We saw them about 6 weeks ago, and we know that they're a great team. We're just focusing on the things we can control and making sure that we go into the game as prepared as we can be.
Coach, you could be also called running back university, the way that you keep going through these guys year after year after year. But to do that, you've had to have the line every year to do that. And it seems like no matter what the year is, that's the strength that comes out of Jamestown. Talk about your line this year and what it's done to be able to help these guys run the ball and do some of the big numbers that they're putting up.
Well, I'm really proud of our line. We're not huge, but we play well, and we prepared them. I think we prepared them in a way where we try to have answers for whatever defenses present. So we spend a lot of time going over things. We spend a lot of time watching film of good and bad plays to make sure we correct them. I spend a lot of time on the weekend going over the previous game before I get into the next one, because I don't really feel that I can really coach the next week the way that I need to, unless I'm aware of the errors and our players are aware of the errors that they made, so we don't make them again. But as far as the line goes, I spend a lot of time with those guys in July and August. And then, of course, during the season, we have a couple coaches that help. Steve Haas is a coach that helps me with the line. And we're just all over those guys in a way where we want to make sure that we have answers, blocking answers to what teams present. And I think our kids are comfortable with it. It's fun to see them flourish, and it's fun to see them not care about getting the credit. That's a big piece to it as well. So there's the answer is time with the kids and making sure that that they're prepared.
So right now, when you look at your season, what's happened, you say your players have grown throughout the season. I really look at this Bennett game, second half to now is where the growth has began. Talk about what's happened from the second half of that Bennett game to the rest of the season, or how did that Bennett game help you guys go into the rest of the season?
Well, I think if you look at the middle of our season, we lost 3 games in a row. We lost to Bennett by 4, we lost to Orchard Park by 1, and we lost to Lancaster by what it ended up being 7. But they scored on the last play of the game. But so I think the thing that with a relatively young team, I think we had some talks after those games about really believing that we can hang with anybody, that we can play with anybody. And sometimes has to be the experience of the kids going through that to really believe it. And I think that's really what happened in those games. Losing is it's a terrible feeling, and going and losing close like that is tough. But out of that, if you have the right mindset, comes growth, and that's what I'm talking about with the growth. And then, since that, we've won 3 straight, and we're playing with a lot of confidence, and our players are playing fast and are playing free, and you can just tell that we're in a great place right now. So that's kind of where the growth is at. It's like you said, it's of course you're going to get better with the execution of plays with the time you spend, but also emotionally and maturity wise, I know that we've come a long way.
Coach, this week in particular, how did things start out from a practice perspective in terms of game planning for a team with the quality of opponent that Bennett is? How have you tackled this week, and is it any different than you have, say, any other week? Like, how are you guys focusing and keying in on this particular week?
It's really not much different. We try to keep things consistent, and really we try every way possible to win every game. So Mondays usually is a pretty mental day. We watch some film. We'll probably going back to Saturdays. If you play on a Friday night, we'll watch the first half of film on Saturday morning as a team. And we've got a little tradition where if we win, our booster club buys donuts for the guys, and we'll have donuts and watch film. And then what we'll do is pick out plays in the second half to go over with them that we didn't watch together. Certain plays that we would think are teachable moments, we'll watch those on Monday. We have a character lesson on Sunday with our character coach, Eric Davis. He's an outstanding guy, and he provides us with some background for the week ahead. And then we get into some film breakdown of our opponent, and then we go outside and start preparing how we're going to line up and how we're going to attack, or that offense or defense. And then we try to build on that throughout the week. So Monday's a very mental day. Tuesday, Wednesday, more physical. And then Thursday, we try to make sure that, anything we didn't get to, we can cover that.
It's going to be one heck of a fight on Friday night. You guys, of course, got the long bus ride up, but you guys are no strangers to long bus rides. Do you ever, on a day like Friday, do you break that up at all, or do you board and next stop is All-High Stadium?
I don't really know what it would be like to go on a short trip. Like when you see something like around here, we're the only school that regularly plays, in Erie County or Niagara County. So I always wonder, like, what's it like for Southwestern to go to Faulkner? Like that must be difficult, or whatever. But our guys
can't get lost.
We get on the bus. They put on their headphones. We let them talk until we, about 20 minutes until we get on to Route 60, and then we quiet it down. They sleep mostly. We have our booster club is fantastic. They buy subs for the way up, and then we get off the bus and get ready to go. So for us, that's all we know. We don't know what it's like to travel, from one suburb of Buffalo to the other. So for us, it's second nature, and we've been home for 3 weeks in a row. So it's been nice not having to get on a bus, but we're happy that we can get on a bus.
I'll ask you this, Coach, and this is my last question, but is it easier for you to go play a road game of this magnitude than have someone play in your neck of the woods? Would you rather almost in this spot be on the road as the underdog?
No.
Okay.
No way.
Okay.
I always think, to get a team to come down here on a Friday night when they had school all day, come down and play at Strider, that's an advantage for us. And it's always great to play at home. And, I know that would be, we've played a number of home games, with the stadium on the line, and that's always a cool experience. It was great Friday night to win, and we had a moment with our seniors that their last time off a Strider field was a win, and that's really important for me, and that's really important to our seniors. So I was thankful for that. And sometimes we go out to practice sometimes, and like the first thing that I say, we kind of huddle up before practice starts, but one of the first things we say is, we don't have to practice, we get to practice. We don't have to coach, we get to coach. This is fun. This is exciting. So, we don't have to ride the bus. We get to ride the bus. We get to play. Other teams are not getting to play. We've earned the right to play. And so a bus ride to Bennett is fine with me.
Very good.
Thanks. One question before we go. You obviously have had now players in the NFL. You've got friends in the NFL. You've got an opportunity for some true leaders to some of these young men to talk to them. Talk what it's like to be able to bring people like that into your program or back to your program, right? Because they've graduated from it. What that means to some of those players.
Well, just, Jamestown's a small town, and in small towns, you have, the small town values and some of the little things that make a big difference. For example, Steve Carlson he was able to, he didn't want any credit for this, but since you brought it up, Steve Carlson was able to donate money for a team meal a few weeks ago. And that's a big deal. We all follow Steve. These guys, Steve played his senior year of football would have been 10 years ago. So these kids would have been 6, 7, 8 years old. And that's big time, and there's probably, if you remember when we played Canisius that year, that was probably the most heavily attended game ever at Strider Field. Those kids were probably sitting with their parents in the bleachers, and they haven't forgotten about that. So those are cool moments. But I think that really the message with like Steve, for example, is, and same thing with Nick, you can do anything. You can do anything from Jamestown. You don't need to go to a 5A school in Florida or Texas to go to the NFL. Everything that you have is right here. And you could say that for many schools in Western New York. Everything that you look at, Joe Andreessen's a perfect example at Lancaster. Everything you need is right here. We've got outstanding coaches. You've got outstanding facilities. You've got people that care. You've got people that come down and recruit. And I know we're under recruited, but we still have the opportunity, and there's a pathway. And I think that when you see a Steve Carlson and you see a Kadri Olson, you see a Joe Andreessen, that's the path. There's paths there. So it's inspiring. And as far as leadership, I just consistently loving the kids, and we tell our kids quite a bit. We love you, and doing those things are important, and being there for them is really what it's all about. And that's why you can go to, you go to weddings for players down the road, or you meet their kids. And I'm kind of at that stage in my life. I'm going to a wedding of a player on New Year's this year. So I'm just very fortunate for that. And it's cool when you do it the right way. After you coach them, you can be their friend. And that's really, I think, really what the relationships are all about.
Coach, you do a great job down there. The whole program, all the coaches, really wish you guys the best of luck on Friday night. You guys play the game the right way, do everything the right way down there. So it's an inspiring program to a lot of us up here. And it's, we get to cover you guys. We don't have to cover you. We get to cover you. So just like you were saying earlier, it's a pleasure getting down to Jamestown and getting to Strider Field and getting the red carpet treatment every time we come down there. So thank you for that. And best of luck. Like I said, get out of that one healthy on Friday.
Thanks, guys. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for all that you do for Western New York sports and high school football. It's a fun thing, and I'm very blessed to be a part of it and to be the coach at Jamestown.
Very good. Thank you very much. That's Coach Tom Langworthy, Jamestown Red and Green, and they have got a fight on their hands Friday with Bennett Tigers, the reigning Section 6 champions. Do we know how many years they've won the Section 6 Class AA championship?
Just the 3. That first year they won, went on to
That was the first year they won the Section 6? Okay. All right. Well, hey, they got to fight. Jamestown's not coming up to lose that game, right? They're going to give everything they can. I know that they the way the world will be on their shoulders trying to get past Bennett because no one's been able to beat them in Section 6 since your Orchard Park Quakers 3 seasons ago. So a lot riding on that game on Friday night. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to bring in Brian Davis, the head coach from McKinley Max, one of those BPS coaches. I think he's a Will North kid. You want to bring that up after the Sweet Home game? All right, we're going to take a quick break. Western New York High School Football Weekly.
Western New York Immediate Care's new locations are now open. Whether you've suffered a minor injury or just aren't feeling well, Western New York Immediate Care provides safe, quick, high-quality care at an affordable cost. Our clinicians are trained to diagnose and treat non-life-threatening injuries and illnesses and are equipped with on-site x-ray and labs to help you feel better, faster. With 4 convenient locations open 7 days a week, Western New York Immediate Care is here to help when and where you need us. Visit us online to learn more.
And remember, you can call me anytime.
Anytime?
Oh, this is my client.
Hello! Injury attorney William Mattar always puts his clients first.
I gotta take this.
There you go.
So, I gotta take this.
He's recovered millions for injured accident victims.
Easy out, easy out. Ooh, it's mine.
This is William.
Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar.
Yeah, hardly heard him. Welcome back, Western New York High School Football Weekly. Tom Prince, Frank Wolf, Tim Gardner. We got a special guest coming back in with us. Brian Davis, the head coach from the McKinley Max, who's no stranger to Western New York football. A Williamsville North grad. Mm-hmm. Did you play with Gronk?
Yeah, we played together since Modified, actually. Yeah.
Is he crazy all those years?
He's always been like that.
I got to ask, though, did it suck when he left?
Yeah, kind of did. He was a big part of our offense, and honestly, once he left, it opened things up for me more because we started running the ball way more once he left. But yeah, I mean, it definitely did hurt, especially defensively. People don't realize like how good he was as a defensive end. Everybody just knows him as a tight end, but he was a monster.
Yeah. We've talked to kids who played against Gronk in high school, and not a lot, but obviously, and they always said that, yeah, this dude was a freak back then. Why did you get into coaching? What was it about it that attracted you to it?
Honestly, I mean, as a player, like once you can't play anymore, you have to start thinking about life after football. So, to me, the next best thing besides playing was coaching, honestly.
Did you think about officiating? For even a second?
For a hot second, yeah. But then, like, you rather just be, right there in the heart of it. So.
Leading men.
Yes.
So McKinley, was it your first year that you played South Park at the stadium?
Yep.
So remember the stadium, the first time 2 Buffalo Public Schools played there? That was your team with Delaney, and obviously Delaney won that day. But you guys, that was a good season for you guys. Tell me, who were some of those guys on McKinley? I don't remember them, but I'm trying to remember some of those guys.
Underberg. We had
Underberg.
Henry Hunter. We also had. We had.
You had some dogs.
Yeah, we had some guys for sure.
How do they compare to the guys you have right now, though? Because you've got some player staples. We talked earlier in the year. Remember at Wingnuts, that kid? Oh, yeah. He was kind of quiet, but once we started talking, he's got a high football IQ.
Always use that team as an example. We had some dogs, but I feel like each year that I've been at McKinley, we've had better athletes and more dogs on that team, on whatever that team is compared to them. I think the difference between our 2019 team and any other team that I've had is they worked really, really hard, and they were all bought in together as a team.
Okay.
And it was a big family, honestly.
There was transition year, though. Like, you had just became the head coach. Like, there was some infighting there about who's going to get the job, things like that. Nate, I don't know if that was maybe Nick Tadaro was supposed to go into that role, or maybe he was there and they made him leave because he wasn't a teacher or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it went down, but you came in there. Maybe it was Hutch Tech. But McKinley was in the same situation. There was a guy there that might not have been in the school system but it was lucky that a guy like you was able to come in there, because I know your playing days, you were a very high intense player, and everyone knows you're also a high intense coach. Right. Does that ever work against you, being a high intense coach with your players? Or do you have to be a high intensity coach?
Yeah, I feel like you have to be like it.
Okay.
Even I feel like whenever you're passionate about whatever you do, like you have to bring that intensity and you have to always just be, on top of things. At the end of the day, you're dealing with teenage kids, so you're trying to show them the way, like, what you had to go through and kind of give them the blueprint. So I feel like the intense coaching is needed, honestly.
Do you feel like you guys have been playing with the bullseye in your back, or do you think maybe we haven't been as respected as much as we should be?
A little bit of both. I feel like definitely in the beginning of the season, we definitely had a target on our back for sure. I feel like once, middle of the season where we dropped those 3 games, we were banged up, and I think teams people just kind of forgot about us a little bit. And then, we got healthy week 8, and we showed that we're still,
Yeah, because I was watching McKinley, Tom, and Coach week to week, and I'm like, all right, they're onto something here. Something's going. This might be the McKinley of old here.
Mm-hmm.
Then you guys ran into a rough patch. Do you attribute that to just injuries?
Yeah, definitely injuries.
Because it was not the same team.
Nah, not at all.
Like I seen the Ken West game, and I'm like, Ken West was struggling before they got here. Like I think they just had that sweet home, and then they had a real big game against Hamburg, who turned out to not have a really impressive record, but still. Coming into that game, I would expect it. I had expected you guys to come out on top, but is that the game when you did lose your running back?
Yeah, that was the game.
Okay,
so that was the game actually where the injuries really started to occur. It actually started the week prior. Frontier is just a very physical football team up front for sure, and that lingered into the following week against Ken West. And when you're going against 2 teams that are competitive and physical, it's going to be a tough football game. Sure.
That toughen your team up to knowing. I mean, Frontier's a very physical team. At this point in the season, you're only going to see that style of play. You're going to get Kenmore West, and if you pull that one out, you're going to have 2 more very physical, high-skilled, high football IQ teams with Clarence, who you just beat, and then Sweet Home, who is a lot like you guys and Clarence. Like if you put the 3 teams maybe on paper and look at them, you see the same team. For the most part, you got running games. You have quarterbacks that can stretch the field. I like Tubin and Rocco, but you have you have K-Log can dish.
Yeah.
And your defense, Staples is a guy that you can't test too often with his speed and athleticism. That's a dude back there. That's like, so I think you have 3 of the great teams, and then Ken West almost got good after taking that loss to Sweet Home. They started to turn around. So you might have 4 teams with the exact same makeup. I don't think you can ask for a better 4 teams to represent Class A. What's your take on Class A and the 4 teams that remain?
I've said it since 2 years ago. I think our division is probably the most toughest division in Western New York. Week in and week out, you're going to get everybody's best. Everybody's the same, honestly. And at any given week, somebody can fall off. I feel like our league is very, very competitive, both sides, A1 and A2.
I got to ask you this, because you went to Will North. Are you 0-2 as a coach against Will North, your old team? What's your record against Will North?
1-2.
It's I thought it was like 500 below. So what is it? What's up with that? Are you taking it easy on your old alma mater?
Not at all. I take it personal.
I mean, do you not? I see you guys on the bus after, but you may need to start doing that before you get off the bus.
Yeah, get them going.
I mean, this is, dude. They got to know this is where you're from, right?
Yeah, they do. I make it a big deal. I wear like my old Letterman jacket and stuff just to make the guys mad. So
I'm sorry, but if I lose that game on a Friday, I didn't want him to get in trouble.
So you come to practice like that?
Yes, it does, and that's what I do it for. I want somebody to snatch it off me. I want somebody to get mad. Like,
he still wants to play.
That's what I want. That's what I want. That's going to let me know that you guys are ready for this game.
So what I would do on Saturday if they lost and I was the head coach, I would wear that again and just run them. They would hate me. They would hate me. You lost to my alma mater. Come on, Staples.
Right.
Don't let that happen again. Is he a senior?
No, he's a junior. Thank God.
So he's got some life left in him.
Right.
Hughes, you lost him, but he came back. Talk about what it was like welcoming him back into that locker room as a player, because he left for maybe greener pastures, maybe not. But now he's back, and that's a luxury.
Right.
I mean, that dude can run.
Yeah.
We've been talking about him since he was a freshman.
Yeah. It was all welcome arms when he came back from not only the coaching staff but the other players too. Like when he left, it was a big blow, and when we got him back, everybody was happy to have him back. It wasn't any bitterness or anything like that. It was just he came home, honestly, and that's how we took it as is like yes.
Yeah. Did he come back halfway through the year?
Yeah, he came.
So
back
he wasn't there for a full year.
No.
Okay. But still, you like the position your team is now as you head into the semifinals.
I do.
Here.
I think we got healthy right at the perfect time, and I think that that game in particular got us going, in the right direction for the playoffs.
So you get another shot at Ken West, and then if you can win that game, you're at Highmark.
Right.
Ken West got that win over you guys early in the year, healthy or not. They got that W.
Right.
How does your team feel going into that game, knowing that this team got the best of you early in the year? I mean, how much does that get them up even more?
Does
it raise? Does it?
It's been a very intense practice this
Okay.
week. It's been laser focused. The guys know what's at stake. Knowing that the game went the way how it did, they're very, very they're ready for this game.
I was gonna say, Ford's older brother is a Hall of Famer at Ken West. Both of them.
Yep, both of them.
So do you rub that in, or do you say no contact with your brothers this week? Can you imagine
No,
the talk in that house right now?
His last game was against Zachary at the stadium. My son's Zachary at the stadium. That was the loss they had to Orchard Park.
I remember watching that game. You didn't have to bring that up. I think I got.
Bring many games up.
You didn't have to bring that one up.
But I want to talk about Ford because I'll tell you the thing that we've known about Ford. We know he can run the ball, right? We know he can, in essence, be another running back from the court. But his passing has come a long way. Really talk about what he's done as a quarterback overall and how he's progressed for you.
He's grown tremendously. Even when he first transferred in from till now, it is like night and day. He's a true quarterback. He always wants to perfect his craft. He's always trying to get better. He's always trying to study defenses of whoever we're playing that week. And he's always trying to fix the mechanics. He's always just trying to do the right thing. And he's did a complete 180, and that's why he's in the position that he's in right now as our starting quarterback.
I'll be 100% honest. I seen him play, I want to say it was Chautauqua Lake against O'Hara, like week 1 or 2, and he was running for his life. And I knew that there was a competitive fire breathing, but I think that at that point, he might have been, I don't know if he was frustrated or what, but the competitive nature was ahead of where the skill set was. Now watching him play, it looks like the skill set has caught up to that competitive edge. That makes a dangerous football player.
Yes.
So he's playing, he cares. I mean, football runs through that family.
Right.
That's a football family. You're not doing anything else. You are playing football. But it looks like the skill set's finally caught up to him, passing, running. What else does he do for you?
He's a leader. He runs indoor track with me in the winter time, so he's around me 24/7. Like I said, always trying to get better, either his speed, his strength, his mechanics. He's it's like you said, it's in his blood. So
there's a couple receivers that I like a lot of their receivers in Western Europe, but you got the one, Abernathy. You fall in love with this kid watching this kid run routes. I love that dude.
He's the real deal.
Oh man, he is fun to watch out there. What's it like having a guy like that?
He's the life of the team, honestly. He's very, very like hardworking. He's very focused, but off the field, he's the life of the party. Everybody wants to hang around him. Guess you could say he's the team clown. But he's when he's on the field and he's got his helmet on, he means business and he's all business, and everybody knows that whatever he said when he speaks, it speaks volume.
Yeah, he's a player. I like watching him play. I like watching him run routes. How much did you guys learn about yourselves against St. Joe's? I know that was a tough game for you. It was tough for us watching because we just saw that line just get through there, and your quarterbacks were having a rough day. How much did they learn about themselves? Because they never quit. I know the game wasn't close, but as hard as it was, I didn't see the quit over here. I saw them looking and saying, this is a tough game. They ran for their lives some of the times. But just talk about what it was like on the sidelines trying to keep those guys. You got to go back out. We got 2 more quarters here to play this team. What was it like trying to keep that together?
I really didn't have to do much because they were, like I said, I got a bunch of competitive guys, so they were up for the challenge. After the game, though, that's when it like hit them that like, yo, we need to start practicing hard. We need to pick it up, the intensity. We need to start holding each other accountable. And literally, that's what happened the following week. And you know, it showed that they got their stuff together. And I guess you could say they needed it. You know, even dropping those 2 games prior to those, like sometimes you got to be humbled. And I think that's what our guys needed.
I always say like the team that gets to the stadium and beyond had to face some kind of adversity during the year. You know, there will be a team going to the stadium that's undefeated. But like even Lackawanna, they faced adversity throughout the year. That was not a run through at CSP. They had to work for that win, and that was a Class D team for them. So they've had adversity during the year. The last Maryville game, they had their moments in there. So, you know, Pioneer, I don't know how much adversity they faced outside of week 1. They've kind of ran the table there. McKinley, though, you know, you got the loss to Ken West. You had that rough week, and then you see that St. Joe's game, and they were beating you in most phases of the game, if we're being honest. So those kids could have either sulked, hung their heads, and folded, but that didn't happen. And I think that's the best thing that could have happened to McKinley. I went to Ken West. They're in a tough spot. Ken West is in a tough spot because this is a different team than the one they played, 4 weeks ago? Yeah. But I think you're going to see a different team, too.
Oh, for sure.
The Rogers kid is
they got some studs.
They do.
Remember, this game that you just faced the first time was special teams.
Yep, of course.
That's where it was won or lost. Let's be honest.
That's
right?
right.
It was a special teams game. So what do you need to change special teams-wise to make sure that it's a different game for you?
Well, right after that game, we actually made the change right there, but we changed went to a different, different special teams for off different phases, different personnel, and, you know, it's been seeming to work for the last couple of weeks. So that's what we did, and we're hoping that we, you know, can continue to execute on special teams because that game in particular, we understand that special teams, you guys got to take it more serious during practice. Simple as that.
You want to stay for the last segment?
Sure.
We're going to do our large and small schools, and I want you to see where Tom has you guys ranked in large. I want to see. So why don't we do our large and small rankings so Coach Davis could see where you have.
There to make sure it was in there is what it was.
I don't know if I have McKinley in there, Coach. We're about to get embarrassed here. I don't think we do. Let's go to small before Brian kicks our asses.
Let's talk about it, right?
Okay.
Because when you do rankings like this, it would be an overall season that you look at, not just the last game that's in there. So when you look at there, right, if now put our shoes on.
Right.
If you saw a team that had 3 losses in there, is it something that you're ready to get that win? Like, because that win over Clarence was huge. But who do you take out then at that point? Because if they haven't lost in there, that's when it becomes harder to have those conversations, right?
Understandable.
Oh, so he goes right to the large school coach, and you'll see that neither of us put McKinley in there, so that's a major disrespect right there. Now, this is something you can put on your bulletin board. We don't have McKinley in there, damn. If you look at that,
right now, but as of
who
right
do you
now,
take out?
Well, to be honest with you, next week, what's the replacement? Who wins the Ken West McKinley game?
Is this the right week? This is week 10.
That's after week.
Oh, it's last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I look at it as this is where this game now comes into play, right? Who wins that game is who's going to be able to vault into the rankings right here.
Of course.
And you could look at various matchups right here. I mean, we're going to see right now Lancaster and Orchard Park play. We're going to see St. Francis and St. Joe's play. We're going to see Sweet Home and Canisius play. We're going to see Bennett and Jamestown play, and you and Ken West play. This next week is going to be completely different from what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
Don't show them last week's.
Coach, what seed were you in the playoffs?
We were the overall number 1 seed.
Yeah, so McKinley's getting a little bit disrespected by Tom and myself here. I go back to, obviously, the 3-game stretch is what I look at. And the only reason why I've got Ken West there right now is because of the win over McKinley. Had that gone the other way, McKinley would be in my 9 or 10 spot because I think if they win that Ken West game, maybe they win the week after.
there's no doubt that was the game. When you have to look at those last couple spots right in there, is you've got to look at the head-to-head matchup first. It's the same thing with Jamestown. When you look at Jamestown, even though the 3 losses in there, take a look at the losses. You've got a 4-point loss to Bennett, a 1-point loss to Orchard Park, and a 7-point loss to Lancaster that comes on the last play that pretty much takes it to Dallas. That would have been a 1-point game right there itself. And in fact, had the lead, I want to say, with 2 minutes to go in that game over Lancaster at the same time, which is the thought process that, comes into play right here, right?
So right there, Tom, the only, like on my own, where I probably should have Joe's on top of Orchard Park. I probably should have, in my own estimate, from seeing Joe's play as much as I have this year and what that line is capable of doing, and we know what Orchard Park's line's been so banged up. It's a what if, because they haven't played and they won't play. I would probably rethink that and maybe have Joe's in the number 5 spot. But Orchard Park really hasn't done much to get themselves kicked out, and neither has Joe's.
And that's the thing that's the one thing with Orchard Park. With a banged up line, we've seen them still put up 40 points against some of these teams out there. Just shows what a year they're having and what a quarterback Brady Ciano is for Orchard Park to really take them where they've gone.
Let's go into our small rankings. Tom and I are still arm wrestling over the number 1 spot between Pioneer and Lackawanna, but that's really, you could put anybody in that spot. They're both undefeated and having great seasons. South Park's still up there, another Buffalo public school team, alive and well. Health Sciences is up there. Tommy and I got Salamanca switched around. That's okay. You got Medina over CSP. I got CSP over Medina. They're not going to like you this week.
That hasn't changed. That's been the same right there.
I got you. Still got Grand Island in there. I moved Portville up because I didn't want him yelling at us. You mostly.
He's there.
I keep picking on this poor guy over here. Newfane, they had a heck of a season.
I mean, think about it. You're really talking about one loss that coming into the playoffs, which was that 7-6 game and a sloppy game, weather-wise, that was out there. It was a sloppy weather. That was the day we're getting all those thunderstorms and everything all over the place. It was a 7-6 game that was in there. That was their only loss coming into the playoffs. Yeah. They beat Medina after Medina has won that C North division for years out there. And then they come up with that big win right there. But Alden beating Newfane and then Medina beating Alden set that into a 3-way tie right there and really changed the dynamics of that division a little bit.
So those are our large and small school rankings. We got them out of the way. Anything else you want to, like a parting shot, final thought for you this week as we head into the...
Listen, you're one game away from the stadium. You got to make sure there's every I is dotted, every T is crossed, everything has got to be ready for this game. And I say this, I've said this since the last game of the regular season. This may be the last time you're going to play on the field. A last time. So think about that as you go into this, because that should be some of the mentality of understanding like that I have to leave everything on this field. Or you're one game away of playing in an NFL stadium. If that's not a memory of a lifetime, I don't know what is. Right. And so, boy, you better make sure you have no excuses in that game.
And I'll just say this, all the teams out there, there's still a lot of football left, but just be careful of what you're doing. We just saw what happened. I think it's out in Section 2 or Section 1 where the top-ranked team in Class D just had their season pulled out from under them, right, because of a incident on a bus. I didn't see it. So the top-ranked team, there's like 5 schools or 4 schools combined into one. I forgot what they're called exactly, but the whole season canceled. And they were the number 1 ranked team in Class D, expected to be at the JMA Wireless, gone for silliness. So, kids, don't ruin your season for stupidity. You got a lot to live for, a lot to work for, a lot to play for. Just be careful out there. Everyone's watching. In this day and age with camera phones and everything else, can't be too careful. A whole team season done.
But there's a gentleman sitting right next to you that does some great videos at the end of his games.
They ain't doing what this team was doing on the bus.
So no. I'm saying this. I love these videos.
Oh, they're fun.
So I'm saying this on a positive way. So the task now becomes, if McKinley's standing there at the end of this one.
He wants to do this so bad.
I'm telling you.
I have been listening to this.
Post game's gonna get done on the bus ride. Is what it's gonna get done.
Weeks.
Who's gonna follow me in your car?
Figure it out.
So that's Thursday night. That's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
How are you feeling going into that game?
I'm feeling good, honestly. I can't wait. The kids can't wait. You know, our staff can't wait. It's school can't wait. It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, honestly.
Yeah, and I do wish you guys the best of luck.
Thank you.
All kidding aside, stay healthy, and you guys have had a really good season. You know, I know overall, if you take a look at it, week 1 through 9, you guys had a great season, and for you guys, I hope it continues. Just keep doing the best. You're one of the best coaches out there, and I won't name the coach that said it, but recently a coach told me that you are the absolute best coach in Western New York. He loves watching you on the sideline, so I can't tell you who that is because it'll stroke his ego. But I want you guys to have a good game Thursday night, and maybe we'll be talking to you on Tuesday at Highmark for Media Day.
Hopefully.
You know your way there.
Right.
That's High School Football Weekly, Week 9 edition. The next show we do is going to be courtesy of Highmark Stadium with 10 teams that are going to duke it out. And we'll also preview those Monsignor Martin Championship games as well. Thank you for watching Western New York High School Football Weekly. For Timmy Gardner, head coach Brian Davis of McKinley Temperance, and Frank Wolf. See you next Wednesday.